So then the word that comes to mind, and I wrote it down and circled it so I wouldn't forget, is stigma.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons, or part of the reason, that we can't have open conversations about sex, open conversations about behaviors that lead to increased infection, is because of stigma. How do we deal with that? Not just the stigma that people feel, the person with the virus feels, but also the stigma of society at large. How do you change those two things at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the important things that we did recently at CDC, which I think is emblematic of how to respond to this, is to really realize that that risk is something that is not real. That risk is something that we create, saying somebody is high risk, some behavior is high risk, actually creates like a level of stigma that prevents people from seeking services. And so really thinking about, there are not people who are high risk, but situations that are potentially high risk that we can address. There are risk factors, but really sort of one of my favorite doctors said to me that that when you talk to someone about their high risk behavior on Friday, you don't realize that for them that was a good Friday night. And so, right? So if you start the dialogue by saying like, you are a high risk person, who's going to walk through that door? Do you want to walk through a door that says you're a high-risk person? I certainly don't. And so really shifting the narrative into sexual health, shifting the narrative into a strategy that is what we call at CDC status neutral, which says like, it doesn't matter what your status is. We just need to identify services and interventions that work for you, as opposed to sort of create like this impossibility of you have a flashing HIV sign that you have to walk in under, and that's going to somehow be comfortable for people who may not be comfortable with sort of identifying themselves as people at risk.